Shoesmith is a correspondent to Freedom Friday and has been for a long time. He hails out of Toronto, Canada, but he's all over Canada. He's all over the United States, literally. Last week he was all out in California and everywhere in between. Don't really know where he's coming from today, but he's on the line, and we're going to bring him on. Now, Mike Shoesmith is the executive editor of the P.P. Simmons News and Ministry Network. He keeps all the folks that work for that network now in line, and and he keeps his finger on the pulse of all of that, and just doing an amazing job. If you want to get a hold of Mike Shoesmith and or the folks at P.P. Simmons, you can get them at ppsimmons@live.com, ppsimmons@live.com. In the meantime, go to www.ppsimmons.com, ppsimmons.com, and put the 3 W's in front of it. It'll take you right to the index page, and you can see all of the various properties of the P.P. Simmons News and Ministry Network and how you can get engaged and be a part of that and keep up with everything that's going on around the world. In the meantime, Mike is an author, and he is a syndicated blogger, a good friend of mine, and I want you folks to welcome to the show Mike Shoesmith. In the meantime, Mike, let me just ask you, I've got to ask you, so why is it that Obama is now engaging ISIS in Iraq? I mean, I'm glad he is. I'm going to give him that. I praise God that finally it looks like the United States is going to get involved and give some real help and some real relief. But a lot of people are asking this question. I mean, even talking heads on the news in the mainstream media, they're saying, why now? I mean, ISIS has been butchering people for a long time. Why all of a sudden now? And you have an interesting perspective on that, Mike.
Well, you know, Antichrist Obama's ISIS network there in Iraq, that all started, if you go back 8 months ago, we see ISIS responding to Antichrist Obama's actions in Syria. You know, I say Antichrist, he's an Antichrist, and so much as we're going to talk about that in a minute here. But, you know, you remember Obama and his red line with Syria. He says, look, if the Syrian government crosses this red line, that was chemical weapons, the use of chemical weapons against the people there, that will be the red line to go in and halt the actions, the heinous actions of Bashar al-Assad. And at my count, Assad crossed the red line no less than 3 times. And Barack Obama did absolutely nothing about it. And so this emboldened these people in Iraq or in Syria. You know, they were essentially saying, "Well, look, you know, we could probably take some land here, and the great restrainer in the world will do apparently nothing about it." So 8 months ago, ISIS they decide to take Fallujah, right?
Right.
And so they take Fallujah, and so they're marching across Iraq. And 3 months ago, Carl, al-Maliki, he sent out an urgent message to the Obama administration begging them for emergency assistance to stop the march of ISIS against Mosul. Mosul is a Christian refuge city in Iraq. Is that right?
Yeah, you are. It's the second largest city in Iraq. It's the capital of the province called Nineveh, of all things, and a population of tens of thousands of Christians that have been there for almost 2,000 years.
Thank you for confirming that. So Maliki, he reaches out to the Obama administration 3 months ago, Carl, and says, look, they are marching on Mosul. You have got to give us a hand to deal with these people. They are beheading Christians. They are marching across the country, killing, raping, pillaging. Just it's a horrendous thing they're doing. Please help us. And they were responded. The Obama administration responded with, deal with it yourself. Right. You're dealing with we're dealing with Christians here. Why don't you help? Deal with it yourself. This is your problem. Deal with it yourself.
Now you got to wonder. You got to Mike. Can you hear me? You got to wonder. If it was Christians marching across Iraq in a horde, raping, killing, beheading, and pillaging Muslims, and the call went out to Obama, you got to wonder if he might have responded differently.
Well, indeed. I mean, it's a valid question. And now for 3 months, Carl, ISIS has been going around through, routing the Christian population, raping them, beheading them, crucifying them. Right. And Obama and his people have done absolutely nothing about this. And now, yesterday, news tidings comes out of the area saying, "Hey, look, the Yazidi people, they've been routed up this mountain." And now Obama, now the gloves are off. Now it's over now. That's a red line that they should not have crossed. They routed the Yazidis. they've been killing and slaughtering Christians for 3 straight months, unabated.
Right.
And they've had no resistance to that whatsoever. And by the way, let me just back up here a little bit. I heard Juan Williams, the NPR reject, Juan Williams on Fox News today saying, well, look, Obama had no idea that, they could not have known that the Islamic or the Iraqi military is going to melt when confronted by the ISIS people. Obama, he had no idea that they were going to do that. He thought that they were going to, listen, I knew they would melt. In fact, I reported on Freedom Friday weeks ago that my intelligence sources in the Canadian military who were involved in training these people in Afghanistan and Iraq to deal with these issues of terrorism. My insiders tell me that the locals there, they have no interest in defending anything. They run when the going gets tough. They hightail it out of there.
Right.
And so I knew about it. Now, I'm nobody. I knew that these were the kinds of people they were dealing with. Surely Obama and his people knew that this was going to happen. But anyway, we digress here. So now we have these Yazidi people. Who are the Yazidi people? The Yazidi people, now, people are going to start hearing words now that they should be very familiar with by now as fans of ppsimmons and Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, because the Yazidi people, according to Wikipedia, this is what they have to say about the Yazidi, are a Kurdish religious community who practice an ancient religion linked to Zoroastrianism and ancient Mesopotamian religions, all right?
Right.
And Wikipedia describes their religion as a syncretist religion. Now, we happen to know that Barack Obama is a syncretist.
Is a syncretist, yeah. And let's make sure the people know there are 40,000 of these people up on top of a mountain. Men, women, boys, and girls, children, teenagers, elderly. They're up there. They're practically starving to death. And now Obama's going to get involved because they are syncretist. Go ahead. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say we don't know it's because they're syncretist. I'm sorry. I want to clean that up. But it's interesting that they now he's defending people that more fall in line with what he is religiously. All right, go ahead.
Well, that's exactly right. And the Yazidis, they are syncretists. They conflate many of the world's religions, especially that area, those areas, the religions with respect to the Mesopotamian region. And Zoroastrianism plays a big part in that. Zoroastrianism, I was involved in a debate many years before I ever met you with an atheist about the merits of the teachings of Friedrich Nietzsche. And Nietzsche wrote a book called Thus Spake Zarathustra. So I did a little research on Zoroastrianism years ago, and Zoroastrianism is an ancient Persian religion founded by a guy named Zoroaster or Zarathustra, he was also known as. And you've heard the talk about the Yazidi that the Muslims believe that they're devil worshippers. Yeah. And the talking heads are saying, well, they're not devil worshippers. They worship a single God like everybody else. Well, actually, the God that they worship is called, his name is called MAZDA, Ahura Mazda. Mm-hmm. And that is where, if you drive a Mazda, you're driving a car named after this religion, because the founder of the Mazda car company was a Zoroastrian, by the way.
I remember you doing a report on that on Freedom Friday sometime back. I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so these are the kinds of people talk. We have nothing against these people.
No.
The reason we're mentioning this at all is because Barack Obama, who calls himself a Muslim one day and he calls himself a Christian the next, has ignored the slaughter of thousands of Christians over there in the Middle East, and now there is a humanitarian crisis going on in the north of Iraq with the Christian community. There are hundreds of thousands of Christians begging for food and shelter in northern Iraq, and Obama does nothing about it. But now we have a bunch of Yazidi trapped on a mountain, 40,000 of them, and the gloves are off, man. Like, he's bombing that place, he's sending them food, but when it comes to his brothers and sisters, so-called in the Lord, he's absolutely silent and does nothing, and I think that's an abomination.
Another abomination. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch this. I mean, I applaud him helping those 40,000 up there. But again,
Yes.
as you've so accurately and brilliantly documented, the plea for help went out many, many months ago, and it was all ignored. And then the atrocities began: the death, the destruction, the raping, the pillaging, the murdering, the beheading. Now we have reports today of Christian children being summarily beheaded and their heads put on stakes and put in playground parks in Mosul. I mean, that's in the headlines today. And as you just said, I mean, he's sending aid to the 40,000 that more closely match his religious views of life up on top of that mountain, and the hundreds of thousands of Christians are still out in the plains of Nineveh with the Muslim horde bearing down on them, ready to chop their heads off.
Yeah, I just think that this is an atrocity that's happening over there, and I really think that as we see this thing unfolding, we really do see, and I mean, you don't have to agree with me on this, Carl. I understand why you wouldn't, but I really see that Obama has embraced the Paul doctrine on foreign policy when it comes to removing American influence in the world and retracting and retreating back to American soil and taking away the American involvement in the foreign entanglements around the world. And this is what the result is. This is the Paul doctrine, and this is why we refuse to go along with the endorsing of Ron Paul for president, because he has this as his chief doctrine to not get involved in foreign entanglements, to get out of these places. And this is what we see happening.
Right.
And let me tell you, folks, that ISIS is a threat to the United States of America because Islam predates the existence of America.
Right.
And they have one as their major tenet, the conquering a worldwide caliphate.
That's right.
And in America, there is a sleeping giant in America, and that is the Muslim population. Let me tell you something. Islam is not compatible with the U.S. Constitution.
No, it's
just not, because Islam has as one of its major tenets the rule of law, which is Sharia law, which is subjugation of women, which completely coincides with the worldview contained within the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
So there's a sleeping giant in America, and if ISIS could access the minds and turn on those switches in the sleeping giant laying in America, waiting, using taqiyya as a form of getting involved in society until it reaches a certain percentage of society, and then attempts to take over, as we see happening in Great Britain,